Very welcome to friends. Today we are going to see how to write research paper. This is session 1. We are going to discuss the basics of research paper writing. The research paper writing is very essential in academics. If you consider research paper writing, you will find it is very important. So what is research paper writing? Now if you see, this is what we mean. This okay, so we are having to see what is research paper writing. So we are having going to see why to write, what to write, then what is research writing. This third I added what to write because I'm going to expand this what to write here. And what is research writing, types of research writing, and the basic requirements for the research writing. So why to write? It's really the big question. Why we were required to write? It's a really big question. So if you consider this question, it's a uh, obviously a very big question because one must require to know why the person required to write. If you don't know how to write or why to write, it is the thing. The specifically speaking, when we say writing, we are actually writing anything just to pass our feelings, our knowledge, whatever we gain from our experiences, from our studies, from observation, everything to our next generation. That is the primary, what you can say, or core principle behind the writing. That's why we require to write. Okay, we are not going to write just to make our career. We are actually writing to make our next generation better. So this sort of thing. So humans are using this writing as the tool for passing information from generation to generation. Well, why one should write research papers now? This is the question. Writing is over. That is, we are writing because we are passing our information to the next generation. Why we require to write the research papers? Obviously, we are writing research papers to pass whatever research we have done or whatever discoveries we made or whatever invention we made or whatever innovation we made to our next generation so that they can use that information and can start thereafter instead of reinventing the wheel. So that's why we require to write a research paper. Okay, so one should pass any knowledge to one's next generation for making evolutionary progress easier than ever. This is the primary goal of writing research papers. And yes, of course, if you write the research publications, it gives you the recognition and boost to your career. So this is why we require to write the thing. So if you see this with a thing, you know that is we are writing because we want to pass the knowledge. Okay, and to whom we are passing this knowledge? We are passing this knowledge to the generation, next generation. Okay, and we are writing this because it boosts our career. If you see this writing, you'll find that writing is actually used to boost our career. So to boost your career, we require to write. This is what we are saying. Okay, so now we are going to see what's next. So if you go with why to write, you should write about anything which is in demand. What to write? So what is in demand? Anything. You can write poems, you can write stories, you can write essays, you can write anything that you can say. Even you can write the research papers. Okay. Writing fiction and writing research paper is similar. The only thing is that in fiction you are writing about something that is just out of your imagination, and in research paper you are writing something which actually manifested out of your imagination. That is your invention, that is your work. Okay, you are writing about that. So publication of applied research is getting fast recognition and it's comparatively easy to do. Means you are given with say some piece of material already designed and developed material is there, and you are simply improving it. You are innovating something. So you are doing the applied research. Or say suppose someone come up with some requirements, and after observing his requirement, you created one tool. Okay, that is what you call as an applied research, and it's comparatively easy because it take less time. But it is not easy means it's not that way that is anyone can do. Now, publishing basic and fundamental research is very appreciable, but it's really time consuming and comparatively very difficult. Let's consider if you want to find out something like E equal to mc square, you require to devote entire life to that. Okay, but to write an applied research, let's say suppose you want to find out something where you can do things 2 minutes faster than the prior product, it's easy comparatively. And so the publishing basic and fundamental research is very appreciable, but it is time consuming, require complete dedication, and it's comparatively difficult. So for academics generally we go for the applied research thing. Now we are going to see what is general writing, because we require to know what is the general writing, what is the research writing. Let's say suppose you want to make a cup of tea. The general writing will say that it just mix the sugar, tea powder, milk and cook it. Your tea is ready. But when it comes to research writing, you require to write like this. Example of this follows the procedure of tea making. I am using here a fictitious manual of tea making, which is I assume published in 2019. There is no such manual actually. If it exists, then this is just a coincidence. Okay, I have not gone through any manual. So follows the procedure of tea making. Okay, and you are giving the reference here, that is this tea making procedure is actually taken from this or actually designed by following this tea making manual. And we are going now, for 1 cup of tea take 1.5 spoon or 2 gram of tea leaves in half cup of water. Then we are saying add at least 1 tablespoon of sugar into it. Then boil this mixture at least for 5 minutes on medium flame. Then we are saying add 1/4 cup of cream-free milk into the boiled tea, mix and boil it further for next 3 minutes on medium flame. Filter the tea and pour it into the cup for serving. So if you see this, you are having total 5 stages, a complete algorithm, a step-by-step procedure, which actually replaces this, and there is no ambiguity here. You'll find general writing, there is ambiguity. Just mix sugar, tea powder, milk and cook it. So how much tea, how much sugar, how much tea powder, nothing is given. Water is not mentioned. Okay, while here you are seeing for 1 cup of tea, you are seeing that is you have to take this much of in how much of water, and likewise. So if you go with this for more than 1 cup of tea, we are adding the sixth instruction: increase the quantity of ingredients and also increase the boiling time accordingly, because you require to boil it, and likewise. So this is the way of scientific writing, this is the way of general writing. So in scientific writing there is no place for ambiguity, there is no place for what we call as an daydreaming, literally speaking. Okay, so you have to be right now there in the point. You have to give everything just like that, is this is how it is. Okay, no less, no more. Okay, so when you say research writing, you are actually placing the facts very harshly, no emotions involved. Okay, and in fiction writing you are simply adding the emotions. Okay, so suppose this is what you can say. So this is an example of general writing, this is example of research writing. Now this gives you the entire idea why research writing is difficult, because you require to think so discreetly about every step, every detail in that particular step, that writing this much of sentence. Okay, this to make a cup of tea, if you say write this, you see this sentence one this, and you are having this mix sugar, tea powder and milk, cook it, you require hardly one line. But when it comes to the research writing, you require to mention from where you have taken the procedure, the reference should have to be there. Okay, then you have to give the stages. Okay, every stage there is 1 to 6 step by step procedure is given. You also have to give everything. Okay, but you can say countable or measurable, there is no space for ambiguity, there is no space for ambiguity. Okay, for 1 cup of tea, what you require to mix. And if you see this entire thing is different and difficult than this. So research paper writing is not difficult. What is difficult is to master the language of scientific genre. Scientific general language is that it simply won't entertain any type of ambiguity. Okay, you have to state the fact straightforward. If your experiment fails, you have to say it failed. Okay, you won't have to give any excuse for that. If your experiment succeeds, you have to say it succeeds. Okay, and likewise, you don't require to add anything decorative into it. You can give the fact that is due to this fact because this happened, and likewise experiment succeeded, but no more than that. So this is what we can call as the research paper writing. Now, from above it is clear that research writing should have to be reader friendly. Okay, obviously step by step procedure means you are having the reader friendliness. It must have to be clear and unambiguous. Okay, it must have to be logically correct. It must have to be supported by proper citations. We already supported given the citation of T manual. Okay, it must have to use the accurate graphs, tables, images, which this called as infographics and something in the research paper writing, which are not shown in the example, but it's necessary. Okay, to support your whatever writing you are having, you may require to give some graphs, some tables, some images, and likewise very necessary. Any evidence that you are having with you which can back up your research, you must have to show that evidence either in the paper, or you have to put that evidence as a backing. So suppose a journal asks you what are the extra evidence about your research, you have to show that research evidence. And then you have to have the list of all references in order of citations at the end of your writing, which is not the case in fiction writing. There is no references because it's coming purely out of your imagination, and ambiguity is very much used. Well, that type of freedom is not here. Okay? So types of research writing. You are having these different types of research writing. You can write the survey paper or review paper on social happenings, products, technology, and many other things. Okay, you can write the research papers. Fundamental research, I already said that is fundamental research is very difficult because it requires the devotion of life. Okay, so fundamental research is not our genre. Well, it says really it's not the common man genre. The academics generally go for applied or engineering research. So you are given, you are already have a certain knowledge base, and based on that certain knowledge base, you are putting some facts, you are trying to find out the gap, and likewise, and that is what we call as an applied or engineering research. That you can write. Okay, but fundamental research you require to literally go through the much hardship. Then you can write the reports, dissertations, thesis. One thing that you have to keep in mind, if whenever you are writing anything which is of nature, what we call as this scientific or academic or research, must not have to be ambiguous. Okay? Then book chapters that we can write the posters to present, we can write even the entire book, and likewise. So what are the basic requirements when you go for research writing? The first requirement, any research writer must have to have a very good reader. Okay, that is thing, critical reading. Okay, so what is critical reading? When you read anything, you must have to question why that thing is written there by the author. That is what you call as a question. Then you have to analyze. Okay, you have to find out that reason why. You have to interpret, and then you have to evaluate whatever you read. This is what we call as critical reading. The second is that you have to watch your language for reader friendliness. If your language is reader friendly, means reader must have to get the understand the clear meaning from your language, but clarity and correctness required to be there. Okay, then you have to watch your content for cohesiveness, rationality, and advancement. This is the third requirement. Fourth requirement is you have to keep a diary to write notes from references and to note down your ideas in it. Okay, so if you have any questions, queries, something, uh, kindly mention them in below comments. If I get sufficient time, I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you very much for listening and viewing this thing. I actually ask all of you to join my YouTube channel and suggest me and help me in creating the new videos. Thank you very much.